like she said, is Benjamin Phillip. I'm a 16-year-old, 17-year-old high school student, and I started contributing to the Erlang ecosystem at the age of 14. Since then, I've progressed to become a maintainer at the age of 16. And before we progress, I wanted to know how many people have never contributed to any Elixir or Erlang open source project before? Just quick show of hands. Anybody new? Okay, and how many here maintain a project? Great. So the main purpose of this talk is to better connect newbies to maintainers, help newbies understand that that it's actually quite easy, that they should just go for it, and also help maintainers understand what newbies struggle with. So so today I'd like to speak about my journey from being a raw newbie to a maintainer, and along the way I'm going to speak about where I got stuck, what I went wrong with, what I feel some other maintainers could have done better, and in general just give some feedback to other maintainers and leaders of the community. Maybe along the way we might speak about some tips and tricks. So I feel as if my journey would offer unique insights of the experience of those new to the community, both to people who are new and to maintainers. And it might help us with growing the community and might be a source of inspiration to potential contributors. So my journey starts with the pandemic and COVID. So I had a lot of free time during the pandemic, and I had to find some way of using it, of killing the time. So I just felt, maybe working with computers might be a great way of using that time. And it was during this time that I started reading a book called The Structure and Interpretation of Computer Programs, which is a textbook from MIT. I read through a bit of that book, and it was through it that I was introduced to functional programming and then to Elixir. And I was at the point where, I wanted to test out my skills, use it a bit more, and I was getting interested in, contributing to other projects. And it was around this time that I came across Livebook. I first discovered it when I saw José Valim's talk on announcing Livebook. And I felt it was finally my chance to get my hands dirty with open source. But initially, I was really hesitant to contribute. At the time, the main projects which I had heard of were the Linux kernel and Git, and other really big projects like that, where I'd heard about the culture of flaming in those communities and how harsh it is. And I was really nervous about and I assumed that this was the norm, and I was really nervous about approaching the Elixir community, because I thought that I would get flamed too if I just went in and did things without really understanding what I was doing. So as a result, I was very apologetic in my contributions and my PRs, but I'm glad to say that Jonathan and Jose, who were maintaining Livebook, were really welcoming to me, and without their support, I don't think I would have been here, but it was through their encouragement that I became a bit more confident to go out in the open and speak and submit patches and file issues and contribute in general. And around this point, I started getting a bit more confident with interacting with open source, and I started sending more patches in. And it's around, and once I got a bit more confident, I learned a couple of things. I started sending in patches without, I saw issues in the issue tracker, and I started sending patches for things without asking before doing it. And one of the PRs which I sent got rejected because, the team wanted to handle it internally. And what I realized from that interaction is that it's really important that as a contributor, that you should ask before doing something. It has the benefit of preventing multiple people of working on the same issue at the same time, and it helps you coordinate with the maintainer. So in my case, that the maintainer wanted to handle the thing internally, and had I asked him before working on an issue, I would have worked on something a bit more beneficial for the project. And another instance which I remember is that I saw another issue where I felt I could help out. And I sent a PR for that, and that got rejected. And a week later, I came out with another approach, and I submitted that. And the maintainers explained to me that they wanted to manage this internally. And, excuse me. And they again rejected it because they had decided that they knew what was the best approach, and they felt that they should manage it themselves. And there was no point in me submitting a second PR a second time round. So another major thing which I learned from Livebook is that it's really important to respect the maintainer's decisions. But at the same time, I realized something about the way the maintainers were behaving with me. They always tried to engage with me and with my contributions. They tried to explain what are the mistakes I was making in the way I was interacting with the project. They tried to help me around technically when I got stuck with my contributions. And I was always given help, and the reasons why my suggestions or my contributions were rejected were always explained and justified to me. And I think this is something other maintainers should try to emulate. So once I got a bit more, after working on Livebook, Jose, who maintains Livebook, asked me to pitch in with Hexpm. And the build and packaging working group wanted to move away with the password prompt for authenticating the Hex client. And they thought that a web-based solution for this would be the best option. So I was asked to work on this, and I spent about 4 months implementing WebAuth for Hex. I designed a flow. I implemented the proof of concepts for both Hexpm on the server side and Hex on the client side. But this PR, unlike Livebook, and this experience has not been very good, and the PRs which I created are still pending. What I learned from this instance is that it's one of the reasons why I feel that this experience was not that great was that I didn't match the pace of the project in Hexpm. So I was used to the pace at which Livebook used to go. Livebook is actually maintained by Jonathan, who works for Dashbit, and it's actually his day job to work on Livebook and maintain it every day. But Hexpm is managed by somebody called Eric, and he works on Hexpm during his free time. And unfortunately, as a result, the amount of time he's able to devote to Hexpm is extremely limited. So in the process of creating these PRs, I used to request for a lot of reviews and help, and I used to ask questions about things. And whenever I asked a question or whenever I asked someone to review my PR, it would normally take, anywhere between a week to 3-4 weeks before I got a reply. Whereas in Livebook, what happened was that I would get, feedback within 1 or 2 days. So this is extremely frustrating to me. I was working on something, and I was used to a much faster speed of doing things. And I tried to get the attention of Eric by pinging him, and he used to reply to me when I pinged, but the rate at which I was pinging just got to the point where it was my pings were just turning into spam. It was just a irritation for him. So I feel as if, it's important that contributors learn that you should be careful when you're trying to transition from another project to another, because there's a lot of variation in the way in the culture of each project, and as a result, there may be certain misunderstandings between you and the maintainer. Certain things may be okay in my first project, Livebook, but some things were not okay in Hexpm, and one of these were pinging people. And I feel as if a way I could have been a little better in that particular experience was that if I had tried to spend a little more time on trying to understand the culture in Hexpm, it may not have been such a bad experience for the maintainer. But at the same time, another reason why I feel this experience has not been great for me is that I spent about all my free time for about 4 months working on this. And as a result, at the end, once I finally got things working, what happened was that the PR just stagnated. They needed reviews from, other people. And since this was a really, it impacts the security of Hex. And while trying to search for other people to review, the PR just stagnated, and it's been pending for the past 2 years or so. And this is really frustrating to me, since I had spent all of my free time, I had spent a lot of effort and time to get things working. And it was quite demotivating. So I feel that maintainers, even if they've not got a lot of time, it's important that you try to be a little more responsive to contributions to your project. Because if you just ignore contributions, or if a contribution just goes unattended for very long, there's a tendency that contributors lose motivation. And the other thing is that PRs that, once they become older than 1 year, they effectively die. Merge conflicts arise. Maybe the solution which you're trying to send does not make sense anymore. And which is why I feel that maintainers should try to get PRs merged in as fast as possible. And yeah. So after working on Hexpm, I used to work on a project called Nx. It's the library which is powering a lot of the AI talks that we're seeing right now. I sent a couple of contributions, and it was during this time that, again, Jose introduced me to Tristan. He felt a bit more confident with my work, and he felt that I could be given a chance to work on and maintain something. So a proposal was sent to Open Telemetry to use the Apache Arrow format for managing all their telemetric data. So Erlang did not have a a library to manage the serialization and deserialization between Erlang and the Apache Arrow format. And we needed a library to manage this. So the whole point of the project which I was working on is to set up serialization and deserialization between Erlang and Apache Arrow. And during this time, working on this project, I learned a lot about maintainership. I learned about project management and a lot more. And it's been a really great experience for me because not only have I grown technically, but I've grown in my skills with, speaking with people and maintaining projects and such. But a thing which I feel that I should highlight is that I would not have been able to make it to this point without the support of Jose and Tristan. So it was at this point that people first realized that I'm actually a teenager. And the question came up was that, whether we should first still continue with, giving a kid responsibilities. And another question that came up was, how do we manage stipends? Because I was getting a stipend for this project, and without the support of the EF, I don't think, I could have gotten the stipend. Because there are legal complications since I'm a minor. But the second thing that the major thing which I would like to say is that I don't have much time nowadays to work on open source. I've got a lot of work at school, and as a result, this project has been delayed for, a year. It's probably going to get delayed a little more because I just don't have the time to work on it. And Jose Valim and Tristan Slaughter have been incredibly supportive of the fact that things are delayed. And without their support, I don't know, things would have been not so good. So after this, I've been thinking about the next steps for me. Since then, I've made my first PR to Erlang OTP. So maybe I'll get a little more involved with the Erlang team. I'm possibly speaking in 2 more talks. The first talk I'm going to be speaking about is scaling NX across multiple servers. How does the distribution of NX really work? And the second talk which I'm giving is about what I learned from working on Third Arrow. And it's about how do you optimize sequential Erlang. And maybe after this, once I've got Third Arrow running, maybe I could implement the telemetry side of the proposal. Another thing which I feel that I should mention is that a couple of months ago, Jose again approached me with an opportunity to work on something. But the thing was that at that point of time, I was really got a lot of work in my hands. I was really busy at school. And I realized that, as much as I would love to work on what he wanted me to work on, the thing is that I didn't have the time or the energy to really give my best for it. And what I learned was that it's important to know when you should decline work that people offer you. So far, my experience here has been really good. People have been really welcoming. And yes, apart from that, I'd like to speak about my experience with the community. Along the way, I've become really close friends with people. I mean, I've gotten to know people as just beyond, people maintaining projects. I've gotten to know them personally to the point where I know about things happening in their personal life, and it's really humbling to know that people might share things that are happening to someone they've never really met in their lives, and it's really heartwarming. And when I say I made friends with people, I feel as if I've become friends with somebody I really don't know, to the point, I've asked people for book suggestions, and, I've discussed video games with people. Some people have even helped me with, reviewing my talk proposals. And I feel as if one of the great things about the Erlang community is that people, it's really easy to get along with people over here. And I think it's one of the things that the Erlang community should try to maintain as we become bigger, is that everybody is really friendly and everybody gets along quite well. So a couple of instances that come to mind is about how on the Erlang EF Slack on the machine learning channel, last year when a new video game was coming out, there was a lot of discussion about it. And similarly, there was another similar discussion on an Elixir forum. And what this makes me feel is that as someone new, it shows that the community is really, it gives an atmosphere that the community is really open. And it's very encouraging for me, someone new, to get involved. It doesn't seem really closed. And I think that, again, that this is something that the community should try to hang on to. And the next thing that I'd like to highlight is that Elixir Forum's moderators are doing a great job. I've always had a much nicer experience asking questions and discussing ideas on Elixir Forum compared to other alternatives. So, here are what I think are the main takeaways for contributors. Firstly, it's that it's really easy. If a teenager like me can do it, so can you. I think that anybody who's new should just go for it. But at the same time, there's like a lot of etiquette that you should keep in mind. You should remember to be considerate. Maintainers tend to be really busy people. When you're interacting with them, it's important that you are direct, concise, and to the points in all your contributions. At the same time, when you're contributing, you should coordinate with them, you should respect their decisions. And there's a whole lot of other etiquette that you should keep in mind. You should always, put yourselves in their shoes and try to ask yourself, why should they spend their time on you? And the second biggest takeaway, which I feel, is that, as someone new, there's really no need to be very nervous, as you will get the guidance you need from leaders of the community. From my experience, I've managed to learn a lot of things just by interacting with people. And I feel as if you will just get the guidance you need, and you will be given opportunities to work on various things. Another thing is that good work and enthusiasm are always rewarded with respect and responsibilities. People will give you opportunities to try new things. And again, you should. The next thing that I would like to talk about is what I feel maintainers should know. So the first thing is that when you administer your projects, it's that small touches in your repositories and your projects just really go a long way. So in my initial contributions, Jose Valim had a habit of putting hearts at the end of PRs. And though it felt a little cheesy to me, they really made me feel appreciated. And I think that's a great way of expressing gratitude to someone new. And it's really encouraging. Another small touch which I thought of was that tagged issues in the Livebook, Hexpm and Nx projects helped me to find which issues were of interest to me and help me to assess whether it's something that's to my level, whether I could handle such a project. Another thing was that another thing that motivated me, even though it's a little childish, is the fact that during October, there's this thing called Hacktoberfest, where people are encouraged to contribute to open source. And if you've made 4 contributions, you get a t-shirt. So I used to make a lot of time during Octobers to try and work on this because, yeah, I mean, it was a great way for me to relax. And at the end of it, you get a t-shirt. So, so the point that I'm trying to make here is that there are small touches you could do to your, add to your projects, which help contributors feel a bit more welcome and open, and help contributors out. And you should keep an eye out for more such touches. These are a few that came to my mind. Another thing is that it's really important to engage with contributors. You need to be responsive to them. You need to encourage them. Keep being responsive especially keeps them from losing interest. The other thing is that engaging with them helps them improve the quality of their future contributions. It helps them understand where they are going wrong and where they could be better, where they could do a lot better. The other thing I think is important is that maintainers should give newbies and others chances and opportunities to improve and learn. There's a dual benefit of engaging with them and giving them opportunities, which is that it improves the quality of their contributions and also prevents the contributor from feeling neglected. And I know it's a little early, but that's it. Yeah, questions? Yeah.
Yes, I'm interested to learn about what you learned being a maintainer versus when you were a contributor. Did you have any contributors on your project that you were maintaining? And if so, yeah, what did you do?
So at this point, I've not had much activity on my project. The main being is that it's still really a work on progress, and I've not really publicized it much. So I've just barely scratched the surface of maintainership. So yeah, I've learned a little more about managing projects compared to managing contributors. And I feel that I've still got a lot to learn about it. But yeah, I would say that the main learning that I've had is, how do I keep track of, things I want to work on? How do I manage the project keep the status in check? Yeah.
Thank you so much for your talk. That was so inspiring.
Thank you.